Hey guys, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the custom fit Sidewinder wedge kits for the Curt E16 fifth wheel hitch. As you can see, we have three different custom fit wedge kits for our E16, and there are a little bit of a difference in the designs. These two right here, we have our Curt, and then we have two Reese ones. These are going to be more like what you'll see generic that comes with your Sidewinder, or maybe if you have a Lippert Turning Point, you'd see some kind of generic wedge like that, and these are pretty typical, pretty easy to put in place. So whenever you lock in your kingpin into the hitch head, this Sidewinder wedge is going to come up and slip into place, and what it does is it prevents the kingpin from being able to turn. So when our Sidewinder is in place, we're not going to have two pivot points because we want that pivot point to be pushed back at the connection point at the trailer so that we gain that extra turning clearance. Now with the different designs, each is going to give you a little bit more pressure on the funnel itself, and that's just going to kind of take off the pressure from certain other points. So if you have too much pressure on one side, you can kind of get a little bit more wear and tear on it versus these custom fit wedges where it's going to kind of fit and fill in that funnel and kind of spread out that pressure. Now with the Curt one, obviously with it being just a rectangle shape, it's only going to slip in there. It's not actually going to touch the funnel at all. With this Reese one here, you can see it's kind of a fan shape, so it kind of fits that funnel a little bit better. So it's going to put pressure all along it and spread it out evenly. Now with our other Reese one here, I was having some difficulties. The paint that they put on it is pretty thick, so me pushing it up against it isn't really getting it to pop in place. Obviously when you back your truck up to the trailer and you get it in, it'll pop right in. But you may see that on this specific wedge. I tried a couple of them. They all seem to have a little bit too much paint on them. But same concept here. Basically this rectangle portion is going to pop inside of our hitch head, and then we'll have this slanted portion pressing against the funnel. Now I don't want to kind of push you away from your generic Sidewinder wedge. You can still use that. It's still safe. I just prefer to use the custom ones, and I always recommend them just because it just evenly distributes that weight across the whole hitch head, and I just prefer to take that extra step and keep my hitch looking nice and brand new. Now with these, it's a simple 2-bolt installation. You'll notice on one side it kind of has a divot in. That side is going to have the bolt head. So when we're looking at our pin box, we would have this side facing down. The bolt would slip through and screw into the plating into our pin box. Here we have the same setup, but this one also has a little track on the outside, so it kind of keeps it in that line. And same thing with our other one over here. This one's got a little bit less to it. This one's pretty flat with just a little bit of space in here, and you can see there's a little bit of a weld spot on there to kind of separate the two bolt heads. Now we've gone over some of the specifics of our wedge kits, let's go ahead and show you how to install it. So here we have a trailer with a Reese Sidewinder. Here's the generic like rectangle shaped Sidewinder wedge kit that's typically going to come with your Sidewinder. If you look back here, you can see the rotary wheel, and what this does is it allows our wedge kit to kind of move back and forth so that we can kind of fine tune exactly where it needs to sit. So if I pull this pin out and I turn it, so turning it counterclockwise here, if I'm facing towards the trailer, is going to push it forward more towards the kingpin, and then if I put it back clockwise, we can get it kind of back towards the trailer. Now one little tip I do recommend doing is once you find that sweet spot of where this needs to sit so that it properly aligns in the head of the hitch, go ahead and just mark it. So like our neighbor today, they've already marked it. You can kind of see it, it's a little bit scratched up just from connecting to the hitch, but there's a yellow marker on here, so that way you know exactly where it needs to sit every single time. You can easily put it back to where it needs to be and pop your clip back in. But let's go ahead, we'll take this off and show you how to put on a new one. So here is our old generic Sidewinder wedge kit. If you see right here, it has one less tab on it, on this part. This is going to be facing towards our hitch because it's going to kind of overlap the head a little bit, and then it'll stop right about here. So with our new one, we're going to copy that as well. We'll have that facing towards our hitch, and I'm going to go ahead and just reuse the same bolts. So we'll go ahead and get down under our pin box. And right here's that little plate I was talking about that we can bolt into. Go ahead and place our wedge up here. Just hand tighten that in for right now until we get this fully set, and then we can use our wrench. Once we have them pretty tight, we can go ahead and torque them down. Also going to go ahead and back this one up a little bit. This is a little bit larger than our last one, so we're going to need to push it out of the way. We'll hook up to our kingpin, and then we'll go ahead and slip this into place, get it in the right position. Now that we're hooked up to our hitch, we can go ahead and start turning our rotary wheel and get it fully locked up in position here. Pretty tight. All right, once we got it in a position that we like, we can go ahead and slip our pin back in place, and we're good to go. Well, I think that about does it for today's look at our custom fit Sidewinder wedge kits here for our Curt E16 fifth wheel hitch. My name's Kevin. Thanks for watching.